Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United lose 3-2 to Arsenal at the Emirates in what I'm sure for many people, Arsenal fans and neutrals, was an absolutely fantastic game. And unfortunately, we find ourselves on the end of a defeat. And there's certainly progress where once there was none. I would concede that, but it doesn't take it. It's a bit like Crystal Palace in a way, but it's worse. It's points dropped. It's 1 point from 6. It's a second half display that where we just stopped being the attacking side. And there's lots to get into. Player ratings, mark them. Links in the video description. Mark every player out 10, 6 being the average. I am gutted. There's a lot to get into, but I think the most important thing to say first of all is imagine how Arsenal fans are feeling. Credit to them. It was a good game of football, and they went for it at the end and they won it. And we've been in that position as United fans, if you're old enough, many times. So I don't feel that we were robbed. Arsenal won the game over 90 minutes. Fair play to them. I'd rather they won the league than Man City. But apart from that, concession of gracious in defeat, I'm still gutted in defeat. And I think that we're out of options. This keeps happening. We're running out of options, and you've got to look at the club for that. But what I do really want to say, I want to say this absolutely at the start. For anybody who is trying to have a pop at Ten Hag or the team or where we are going, then you've got to remember that this is still a team that was the worst Premier League side we've ever had. It's still a team that would regularly get stuffed at a place like Arsenal. I'm absolutely convinced if you spoke to Arteta or any Arsenal fan, they'd say we're the best team that's played them at the Emirates this year. And I think we were, for 60 minutes, a decent side, and we just fell away at the end. There is progress there, but you're asking Erik Ten Hag to do a job against a team that is the best team in England, at home, without Casemiro, without a striker, and without options on the bench. This is like running a race against Arteta with no legs. You're asking him to beat Arteta in a mobility scooter. And that is the situation Erik Ten Hag finds himself in. We didn't have our best player today in Casemiro. Weghorst is nowhere near Martial, and some people don't think Martial's that important, but he is to Ten Hag, and there is sod all on the bench. And people say put Garnacho on, and maybe you can. But the bench is Elanga, Pellistri and Garnacho and Fred as attacking options. And he's starting people like McTominay, and he's trying to use Eriksen for 90 minutes when he can't do an hour. That team is going to fall apart because it is just not strong enough. We don't have the squad. People who were talking about the title because we beat Man City, I hate to say it, didn't talk about the title, and I still think top 4 is a very big ask because the squad is just not there. He does not have the options. And when I'm looking in the crowd and I'm seeing Sir Alex Ferguson sat next to Richard Arnold, and Richard Arnold's got a smile on his face, I think you're not doing your bloody job, and you sat there with a smile on your face. I'd be looking very worried if I was you. You should be losing your job under the new ownership, and this club is going to crumble because you haven't done your bloody job. And you can't hide behind the fact that the Glazers gave you a bloody existence. You're in a bloody banker. You're not a football person. Do your job. Do some business over the next 10 days, or we'll go from talking about the title to talking about when we're in the top 4. Ten Hag needs more options. He hasn't got them. Weghorst should have been subbed off. Eriksen should have been subbed off. They stayed on the pitch because he looks behind him and he goes, I don't fancy Pellistri or Elanga or Garnacho to do what I need them to do in a game like this. He hasn't got the options that he needs, and this is killing us. And for the second game in a row, we ceased to be an attacking side at half-time. Against Crystal Palace, I thought we played well in the first half and we became defensive in the second half. Against Arsenal, I thought we played well in the first half, and then, the classic example of where this game went wrong is on paper. At half-time, 50-50% possession. 50-50. I think we'd had roughly the same amount of shots on target. Second half, they had like 20 shots to our 5 and we're nearly at 60% possession. We ceased to be an attacking side in the second half for the second game in a row, and there's a reason for that. We're tired and we don't have any options, and other teams do have the capability of doing that, and it's a problem. It's a problem. So, look, I'm loath to start putting any... I mean, look, De Gea makes a world-class save from Nketiah way before they score the winner, by the way. I mean, he's, 6 yards out, close to his body, good shot, good save. You can't say it wasn't coming, but it was getting to the point where you just didn't want it to come because there was so much progress in that performance from Manchester United. I want to get into some of your comments before I carry on. The game again shows that we need to bring in players. He's begging the board to bring in players, says Tony. Are people actually asking for Ten Hag to win the league in his first season? Do me a favour, says Salim. This just shows how pivotal Casemiro's role in the CDM position is in the squad, and the lack of depth in our squad is going to cost us more in the long run, says Ishmael. While he's in excellent form, we can't rely on Rashford to score all the goals all of the time, says Jay. Also, Billy says, go and get that Norwich scarf, Mark, says Billy. I put some of that on Ten Hag. We needed an outlet. The attack was shattered, says Sean Turner. Why didn't he bring Garnacho on earlier? At the end of the day, it's the bench that made the difference. No signings, no support by the board, says Ali. And asking Ten Hag to win with an old Burnley striker up front is like asking me to win a race against a Ferrari in a Saxo. Ten Hag deserves better, says Eric. Well, look, I know people aren't going to love what I'm about to say because we've just lost the game, but there is progress. You can take it or leave it, but there is progress. Listen, United fans, hold our heads, fam. We're playing week in, week out with Myers players. It looks bright if we can do it with the low battery squad. Look, I genuinely believe if you give him a bench, then he will deliver the top prizes. I do. And I think that is something... When that team was picked today, I didn't like it. I didn't like Weghorst through the middle, and I didn't like McTominay and Eriksen as the midfield two against the best team in the league. I didn't like it. I thought, you know what, we're going to get beat. And I could sit here and say, I was right, but I was wrong. I was wrong because we didn't get beat because of the team he picked. We got beat because the team he picked, the players that didn't play as well as they could have done, he couldn't take them off because he hasn't got any options. That's why we got beat. If you look at that first half, when he said we want to take Arsenal outside their comfort zone, he did it by passing out from the back, playing a high line and playing like we do at home. We played a possession-based game and we went toe-to-toe against Arsenal and they were shocked. And Arteta was shocked because nobody really does that against Arsenal. Man City will do it, but no one else really does it. We went and played football and obviously we scored the goal. And I tell you what, the goal that killed us was that crappy goal that they scored, the equaliser. You get a goal at the Emirates, you're playing better than them, you've got to keep a clean sheet till half-time. And a rubbish cross to the back post and a rubbish header. I mean, it's a good goal for Arsenal, but it's a rubbish goal to concede. And they've got 1-1 without working. They didn't have to work. We worked to go 1-0 up. We were the better team, we took the goal, and then, you know, we just fell asleep on that back post. And that goal really... set us back a little bit because you're not going in ahead then. But possession was good. We played well. The system worked. That really did work. And then we know where it went wrong in the second half. No options. We run out of energy and Arsenal just go for it. And fortune favours the brave and they win the game. And, Saka scores an absolute worldie as well. We might as well be playing without a forward. Our best scoring options are Bruno and Rashford. If our owners actually supported Ten Hag, we would be the best in Europe, says Asha. David De Gea shouldn't continue with the short passes. He can't do it. Eric Ten Hag's instructions hurt us again. We don't make any subs. What are we talking about David De Gea's passing for, Tobias? I mean, have you got any evidence of that causing us the loss today? I actually thought the passing out from the back was fine. I think, what happens? You lose a game and people start pulling out their agendas. I'm sure somebody's at fault for the winner. Arsenal had a lot of options. I've not seen it back. Wan-Bissaka's at fault for the first goal. The second goal's world class, but I think you're really clutching at straws to start talking about passing out from the back again. I mean, he made a bloody world-class save to stop it being 3-2, and you're talking about passing out from the back. I'm sorry, but how on earth does Ten Hag not sub on Garnacho, says Xavier. Scott will never be good enough. Sell him now, says Louis. There is progress. People forget last year spanking home and away, says Hamada. I think that, look, I didn't want the progress to be this, but if you can't see the progress as a United fan, then I worry for you because we've just been to the best team in England who hopefully will win the league. And I say that with conviction now because we can't win the league. So I hope Arsenal do win the league. I don't want Man City to win it. We've just been to the best team in the league who are top of the league. We've lost right at the end. Our second game in 2 games, we've lost, points right at the end. We've gone toe-to-toe with them for 45 minutes. We've come a long way from where we were at the end of last season. We've come a long way. And if you're going to lose, and I don't want to lose, but if you're going to lose, you want to look at it and go, I'm gutted, we didn't need to lose the game, or there's definitely progress. Well, I am gutted. We didn't need to lose the game, but there's definitely progress. We've lost 3-2 and given them a game. And that's no consolation, but from where we've been for the last decade and where we were last season to where we are now, it looks like we've got rid of those Leicester, Brentford, Brighton performances, Man City, where you can get absolutely destroyed by decent teams away from home. It looks like those days are gone. And if they are, then that is progress. It's not the progress I want. I'm greedy. I want United to be the best they can be. And I'm absolutely gutted. But, ultimately, I think we can find some excuses in that loss. We lost 3-2. 3-2 we lost to Arsenal. Not 5-2, 3-2. And it was never a 5-2 game. Arsenal are celebrating on the pitch because they know that the importance of that win against us. They're over the moon with beating us 3-2. Absolutely ecstatic. They've done it right at the end. I know there's no consolation in that, but that's a huge win for them. And they're over the moon because we've given them a game. We've given them a game. They respected us as they came off. You could sense that. They're talking to Martinez. And I know that's not what we want, but it's massive progress from where we were. We gave them a game and, we've also got excuses. We had no Casemiro. They weren't missing a big player. All right, Jesus, to be fair, but Casemiro's our best player. We're missing him. We haven't got anybody up front. Weghorst is a stopgap. We all know that. And we've got no options on the bench. And also we played on Wednesday night and our players are tired. So if we've got a better bench and we've got Casemiro, I think we get something out of that game. It's small consolation, but it's progress. And I'm not taking anything away from Arsenal. They've won the game. They deserve to win it. But we weren't far off. And we've been far off for a long time. And I know it's hard to get your head around that Arsenal, it's horrible to lose to Arsenal because Arsenal are Arsenal. But that ain't Arsenal anymore. We've just lost to the best team in England at their place, 3-2. Take away your Arsenal shit because Arsenal aren't that Arsenal anymore. They're now the best team in England. We're the best team they played against is Spartacus. It was a great match. A lack of depth lost us the game. A lack of depth and a lack of Casemiro, Stephen, really. Stop using Casemiro as an excuse, says Darren. We're good enough. We beat them before without him. The players simply have vanished in the second half last few weeks, says Darren. Nonsense. That's the second nonsense you've put into this chat tonight, Darren. Of course I'm going to talk about Casemiro. He's been top of our chart show for weeks. He's the best player we've got. And we replaced him with Scott McTominay. As I keep saying, going from Casemiro is like having a nice, there's loads of analogies. I'll use the one I've used before. It's like going to work on the train tomorrow in a designer suit. McTominay's like going to work naked. You're exposed. And, you're talking nonsense there. Of course, Casemiro is a big loss. It's like Man City playing without De Bruyne. It's like Argentina playing without Messi. He's a massive loss. You've got to acknowledge it. I felt sorry for Weghorst today. Played well, but got no service. Daz, you know what? Whatever people think about Weghorst, and I think he is very average, was he in the graveyard shift again? Did he get any chances again? No, he's not had a chance in a United shirt. Welcome to Manchester United's number 9. You do not get chances. Weghorst's strengths are defensive work and in the penalty box. We're not giving him anything. Glazer's out, back the manager, get players in. I can't wait for them to leave. It's horrible, but we give them the fight. You know what? A lot of people said we were in a title race. Maybe we were, but not with these owners. Arsenal have bought 2 players this week. They're after another one next week. What are we doing? Low knees from Burnley. It's not enough. It's not enough. You're not competing for anything with that. You're not. We signed another McTominay and Weghorst. He's useless. We need better players than this, says Ash. And at half-time, I would have stopped playing ball out from the back, subbed Eriksen, Voot and Anthony. The route for all 3 goals came from our mistakes, says GJ. Asking Ten Hag to win with an old Burnley I've done that one, haven't we, from Eric Sammy. Make sure you subscribe, by the way, and smash a like on the video. We're going to do the player ratings now. You know what? I don't know. We just had a super chat here. Lewis says Arsenal beat 10 Man United as Scott wasn't there. Not convinced by Anthony. We need Sancho back, says Evan. Well, we'll go through the player ratings now. I think there's something to be said there. Nonsense. Casemiro wasn't playing the last game, says Ten Hag's son. Oh my God. Can I just before we do the player ratings, I've got no issue at all calling out nonsense. What are people talking about talking about a bloody game against Arsenal at Old Trafford in September. We beat Arsenal without Casemiro in September. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's January. You cannot keep going back to a game in September and saying not having Casemiro now doesn't matter because we didn't have him at Old Trafford. Arsenal are way better than they were when they played us in September, for one. And we're playing at the fucking Emirates. We're not playing at Old Trafford with 75,000 fans. Arsenal would not be able to do what they did in the last half an hour at Old Trafford because they won't have the crowd roaring them on. What are you talking? So, all right then. We never need to let Casemiro play against Arsenal again then because we beat them without Casemiro back in September. What shit logic is this? What absolute shite is this? Oh, they didn't have Thomas Partey either. So it was they had Thomas Partey today. So maybe we needed Casemiro. Fucking idiots. Absolute idiots. Absolute prats. How can you talk about a game from fucking September and use it today? Don't know how many times we have to say it, but we'll never win a title with these owners, says Jacob. And stop cursing Weghorst. He played well. We didn't give him any service. The squad need depth, says Spartacus. 6-point gap to top 4. Good fixtures coming up. Played well today without Casemiro, says David. I'm confident about top 4 because I don't think many teams will go to Arsenal and play like that. So if we can go to Arsenal and play like that without Casemiro, then we can go to Anfield and play like that. You know, we can go to, you know, Ellen Road and play like that. I think we can go to a lot of places and play well. Our biggest issue is not the way we play football. Our biggest issue is not the manager. Our biggest issue is injuries and fatigue. That's the only thing you need to worry about as a United fan. We've got game at the weekend, game midweek until March. And I don't think we've got the squad to deal with it. So our biggest concern is fatigue. The second game in a row, we've run out of energy in the second half. Where was Bruno in the second half as an attacking outlet? Where was Eriksen in the second half as an attacking outlet? Rashford faded. Weghorst faded. Anthony got taken off. You know, we're running out of energy in the second half. And it's a 90-minute game. Here's something crazy. Wout looked after the ball better than Anthony and McMayo, says Sumi. Welcome to the Members Club, Tobias. Feel sorry for the players. They're leaving it all out there, and here we are moaning on a 3-2 loss with league leaders, says Neil. What a game, Mark. It was great to see a performance like that at the Emirates. It's been a long time to have a lot of confidence in our team, says Dale. Oh, I hope it's not Arsenal fans coming in feeling smug. I'm not ready for that at the moment. Anyway, look, let's do the player ratings. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. It's on theunitedstand.com, and it should be in the video description, but I will just make sure that it is so that you can do it as we go along. Where are we? So we start with David De Gea there. Let's have a look in the video description. Hopefully you've got it. I thought I'd put it in. Yes, it is. There it is. Okay. Okay, right, let's go. We've had another super chat here. Summer transfer window was the most crucial in years with a top manager and coherent football philosophy in place. It's about recruitment now. We've just got to get top 4 now. Just got to get top 4. That's the most important thing. I think we've got... What's our next Premier League game? I think we've got Crystal Palace at home and then Leeds twice, haven't we? So 9 points gets us back in it. What do you think the loss will affect the team mentally, says Stephen? I don't think it will. I don't think it will. I think the fixtures that we've got ahead of us are fine. It's the volume of fixtures we've got. We lost to Villa because we played Sociedad on Thursday night before. It's fatigue. We can beat Leeds twice and we can beat Crystal Palace. It's just how tired we are in those games. That our biggest... I'm telling you now, I've got no concerns about the manager and the players. It's fatigue and injury that's going to cause us problems. That's all. David Taylor was a 7 for me to 6. I don't get it. Are we back into this again? I can't. Honestly, I'm going to remove David De Gea from player ratings. I can't keep doing this. I can't keep doing this yo-yo nonsense football fan bullshit. You know, the people who are having a pop at Ten Hag and over elaborating on a loss. It's a gutting loss, but we played well against the best team in the league with no bench options and our best player suspended. And now people are giving David De Gea a 6. Why? He can't save the first goal. He can't save the second goal. And he can't save the third goal. But he saves a save that most people wouldn't make. and overall his game was okay. I don't get the 6, but maybe everyone's going to go low. Maybe everyone's going to go low. To be fair, so I give David De Gea a 7. I thought he played well. Wan-Bissaka probably a 6 for me. I thought he played well, but ultimately, I'd normally would have given Wan-Bissaka a 6.5. I don't think he played bad. I thought he made some good tackles. I thought he had Martinelli for most of the game. But this is the highest level of football, and in these games, mistakes cost you games. We can't do anything about the second goal. Saka's goal is world class. The winning goal comes from momentum, but that first goal, if that doesn't go in, what did Arsenal do in the first half to score? I think if we don't make that mistake, we go in 1-0 at half time, and then it's a different game. And the goal that we concede is amateur. You can't lose your man like that, and he keeps doing it. So for me, I'm going to give him a 6. He had a good game, but he cost us a goal, which was just unforgivable again. He's got to be better on the back post. But you know what? It doesn't mean he's a bad player. You make a mistake and people want to call them shit. He's played really well the last month. He played well today. He's just got a big weakness on crosses on the back post. And it cost us a goal today. So I'm going to give him a 6. But his overall game was good. It's just that one moment. And at the highest level, it can cost you. Rafael Varane, definitely a 7 for me. What's Varane done wrong today? I thought Varane was fantastic. And very lucky to be on the losing team, having conceded 3 goals. But I think Varane and Martinez were superb today. Martinez would be my man of the match. I'd give him a 7.5. We're close, yeah. I thought Martinez, the goal, the blocks, he's got a bloody headband on because he's got 2 black eyes from what happened to him on Wednesday night. Obviously, been rested after the World Cup, but the last 2 games he's been brilliant. You know what? We'd be losing a lot more games by a lot more if we didn't have that centre-back pairing. They're so good. They're so reliable. And, not only that, they allowed us to play in the first half a lot higher than teams will normally do at the Emirates. We did go high. Nketiah, we weren't worried about the pace. We went high up the pitch. We pressed them as much as they pressed us. It was a very equal half, and I thought they were very good. Luke Shaw today, probably a 6. I think you've got to be consistent. I do love Luke Shaw. I think he's been brilliant recently, but I think Saka got the better of him today. Stood off him a lot, which I get. You've got to respect these players. But I think when you're giving Saka 5 metres, he can shoot, he can pass, he can run at you with pace. I think he needed to be a bit tighter. I think everybody needed to get tighter to Saka today, and I certainly don't think he's a player that you give 5 metres to. So I'd give Luke Shaw a 6 today. McTominay, look, I could be generous and give him a 6. I could be honest and give him a 5.5. I didn't... In a game like that, is he good enough? No, he's not. I don't think he was dreadful, but I don't think he was good. I think there was some good interceptions. There was some good passes. There was times he didn't pick people up. There was misplaced passes. There was times he lost the ball. For me, Scott McTominay is an Everton midfielder playing in a top 4 side. And Casemiro was injured, so you've got to do it. But, it was an area where we could have been stronger. And I don't think he was as bad as some people. I certainly don't think he was a scapegoat. But I don't think it was a good performance, and I don't think it was it's certainly not something that you couldn't look back and go, we didn't miss Casemiro. We massively missed Casemiro. Eriksen, yeah, I don't know whether to give him a 5.5 or I'm going to give him a 5.5. I'm going to give him a 5.5. I'm going to give him, I'm actually going to be consistent. I'm going to give him the same as McTominay. 5.5 for both. I don't feel that McTominay and Eriksen really worked that well in the second half. I thought in the first half it did. Eriksen doesn't get tight enough to Saka. Eriksen for me is an attacking midfielder. That's what he is. When we're on the ball, like we were in the first half, we're a good side. We went 50-50. We went toe-to-toe. When we're on the ball, Eriksen works well. When we haven't got the ball, it really doesn't work. And it didn't work in the second half. He can't close people down. That's not his game. He's not physical. That's not his game. When we're attacking, Eriksen works. When we're going to have to defend, it doesn't. And also, for the second game in a row in the second half, his legs went. So, You're on about Wan-Bissaka, but he cost us goals from crosses on the back post on a regular basis. We need Delo back, says Isaac. Aaron Wan-Bissaka has a habit of turning his back on his man. He needs to open his body so he can see what's coming from both sides, says Trevor. And I think Casemiro would have been the game changer today. McSauce and Eriksen lost the midfield battle too often. Arsenal recycle possession, says Vicky. We can't use Wan-Bissaka. Sorry, I just want to make this very, very clear. We can't use Casemiro as an excuse. We can, but we can't. If we'd had Casemiro, I think we would have done better. But we didn't have Casemiro for a very legitimate reason. He's our only combative midfielder. He's the only midfielder who puts tackles in, and he collected 5 yellow cards in 19 games. That's 2 plus 2. That's going to happen. The problem is we don't have a replacement for Casemiro. Him missing that game is logical. 5 yellow cards in 19 games when he's the only one who puts tackles in. It's going to happen. I guarantee you he'll get another one. He'll hit 10 yellow cards and he'll get 2 games before long. The problem is we don't have a replacement. So I can't sit here and say Arsenal are lucky we didn't have Casemiro. Well, no, it's logical we didn't have Casemiro. The problem is we didn't have a replacement for him. We go from a really good side in the midfield to quite vulnerable. Bruno would have to be a 6 for me. I mean, you could argue 5.5. Yeah, I mean, look, it's the same as Crystal Palace. I thought in the first half Bruno played well. And in the second half, he just disappeared again. It's huge demands on the players. It's huge demands on the players. You know, they're playing so much football. They went to the World Cup. I think Bruno and Eriksen start the game well, and then they just fade. They fade. Saka's celebration is disrespectful. I see you mind City winning the league. To be honest, I'd rather City have it. Many Arsenal players, fans act childish as well. I haven't seen it. Gutted about the loss, but more annoyed at Gary Neville. His commentary wild, that third into the back of the net. What? Gary Neville played for Manchester United, Lily. What do you mean he willed the ball into the net? Where are we going with this then? Why would he do that? De Gea's ability to make saves and get his points in games despite the lack of support he gets from fans shows just how amazing he is. Always my goalkeeper, says Tonzi. Well, I'm intrigued as to why David De Gea would be held out as a scapegoat tonight, really, but you never know. Anthony's got to be a 5 again, I'm afraid. It's a shame. I thought first half he looked a lot better and it was encouraging, and obviously I'm not going to give up on Anthony. I think he's he's a Ten Hag signing, and he had him at Ajax, and I think he will come good. And I think in the first half he showed more directness. He didn't look as static, but in the second half, he fell off. He showed a bad attitude. He got booked. You could see he was going to get booked, and then he carried on knocking players. Then he got played in down the right-hand side, and he's through. He can be through one-on-one. And what he does is just uses his left foot. And because he's using his left foot, he can never sprint properly because he's having to drag it along with him and just knock it in front of you with your right foot, and you're through one-on-one. He's disappointing in the second half. Look, I like Anthony. I will be patient. I believe there's a good player there. But you know what? You shouldn't be being subbed off early in the second half because you're playing shit. Like, you've cost a lot of money. You're a talented player. In games like this, we need you. And he didn't deliver in the second half. Rashford, I give him a 7 just for the goal. I thought the goal was magnificent. World class. Sent Partey back to Madrid and whacked it in the bottom corner. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant goal. Looks like the only outlet we've got in the team. I don't think you can criticise Rashford. Just saying Zinchenko was offside on the third, says Man United Hodge. I'd like to see the first pass to Zinchenko. Not the Nketiah one. I would like to see that, but I assume they looked at that. It looked close. But obviously he must have been onside, otherwise they would have seen that. Majority players look tired, lack of backup. Weghorst is horrible, says Desiree. I agree with all your points. We were close, ran out of gas, but overall a great game. Just got to get back on a winning run. It's about the process, says LJ. First half, Anthony was class, says Mr. Sue. Yeah, I thought he was a lot better in the first half. And, I suppose we're going to have to just take little steps. Weghorst, I'd probably give him a 5.5. And mainly because, not because he didn't try, not because I thought he was rubbish, but because I've given Ronaldo a 5.5, I've given Cavani a 5.5, I've given Martial a 5.5, and they've had very similar games to Weghorst. So I'm not going to give sympathetic 6s. I'll give him a 5.5 because ultimately he was in a graveyard shift. name me a chance. Name me a good cross into the box. He is finding out what it's like to be a Man United striker. I'm sure he could score us some goals, but he can't score us goals if you don't give him chances. And we create sod all for the number 9 again. He's not had a good chance in 2 games at Manchester United. Sometimes you can play up from Man United and get a bad player rating simply because you don't get any bloody service, and he doesn't get any service. So he ran around a lot. I thought we pressed from the front really well in the second half. But, a fair assessment would be before the game 35% chance of winning with how we saw Arsenal really played and saw we could get something, says SK. So sick of these owners and board, Mark. A dead cat would do a better job, says Anthony. And also just a few people talking about the Zinchenko there thing. Who else have we got to do? Fred was all right when he came on. Probably give him a 6. I mean, to be honest, you could probably give him a 5.5, couldn't you really? Look at that goal from Saka. How anybody can say De Gea should save that? It curls in. I'm sure Ned Flanders will say it, but he's never played in goal in his bloody life. What a goal that was. Second, and you've got to say that as well. You've got to acknowledge that. Second game in a row, we've had a team score a worldie against us. But Eriksen's got to do better on the goal. He's got to stop the shot. I've got a trip to Holland in a couple of weeks. I'm thinking of picking up Anthony on the way and dropping him off at Ajax. He needs to do better, says FIFA Crazy. Send Veghorst out on loan, says Robble. Right. Let's have a look at what else we've got to do. Ten Hag today, if I was giving him a first half score, I'd probably give him a 7.5. Second half, we just became a defensive side and there wasn't a lot apart from the Fred substitution. So I'd probably give him a 6. Today. I thought first half it was good. Second half, really was out of options, really, and the team tired. It's one of those things with regards to a very disappointing result in a game where you want to do a little bit better. What I do want to just shine a light on something a little bit more positive. If you look at the way that the Premier League table looks at the moment, you will see that we are 4th now. Goal difference puts us behind Newcastle, 39 points each. However, we've played the same amount of games as Spurs, and they're 6 points behind us. Brighton have played a game less than us. If they won that, they'd be 5 points behind us. But I can't see Brighton and I can't see Fulham getting in a top 4 race. So I look at Liverpool and Chelsea. Chelsea are 10 points behind us and they've played the same amount of games. Liverpool are 10 points behind us and they've played a game less. I still think top 4 for Manchester United has to look good. When you've watched Liverpool and Chelsea, they don't look like they don't look like teams that are going to go on mad runs. So top 4's looking good. Our next few Premier League games, obviously we play Forest on Wednesday, Reading in the Cup next weekend, Forest again. But then a week on Saturday we've got Palace at home, then we've got Leeds at home, and then we've got Leeds away, and then we've got Leicester at home. So those next 4 Premier League games, we've got 3 Premier League games at home and 1 away. You'd think 12 points. You'd think 12 points there, wouldn't you? And if we do, who haven't I voted for? Garnacho, 6. I didn't even know Garnacho came on. So I look, it's hard to lose to Arsenal. It's disappointing to lose late on. I don't think Zinchenko was offside on that pass, by the way. It's hard to lose to Arsenal. It really is. But in the grand scheme of things, I expect us to go and win 3 of our next 4 and we'll be comfortably top 4. And if we get top 4 and we get new owners and we buy in the summer, I think we have got the right man. I really do. Can you give me a girlfriend a shout out? Love the channel. United Stan keeps me company at work, says Hector. Shout out for Hector Gomez's girlfriend. Hope you're doing well. I won't say anything inappropriate on that one. We have got the studio show ready for you now. They're in the studio. I don't know who's on the studio show today. I think Ricky might be on it. He said we were going to get pummeled, remember? We didn't get pummeled, but we did get beat. Get over onto the studio show. Have your say. I know they're having a big chat about Anthony right now because they've just started. Get over there and have your say on Anthony. We didn't really speak about it that much. I'll speak to you all in a bit. Thanks for watching. Smash a like on the video and subscribe. Interesting day. Progress, yes, but ultimately really disappointed to lose. I'm still live. Still bloody live. What am I talking about? I've not left yet. You're going to get me sort of flustered for a minute now. I will leave you now. I will leave you now.